Welcome to episode 69 of the Wilderness Podcast, your old school weekly podcast made by casuals, made for casuals. I am your host, Dilz, and with me, as always, is Deagin.
Hey, how's it going?
The going's pretty good. How was your week? Anything exciting going on?
Real life? Oh, I probably should have thought. I don't think so. I started playing. There's this game came out.
Here we go. Is it early access?
Yeah, hear me out.
Nice.
Hear me
Okay,
out.
let's hear about it.
It's a battle royale zombie survival.
Nice. This is the new genre.
No, I'm kidding. It came out like a couple weeks ago. I've been playing it on and off for since it came out, or pretty much. It's called Slay the Spire. It's like if you ever did Dungeon Run on Hearthstone, it's like that, but it's like roguelike as well.
So it's a trading card game?
It's a single player card game that you start off with like 5 or 8 cards or something, right? And they're like shitty. And every time you beat a room, you can like add more cards to your deck, and there's like random events that happen. There's bosses, there's like little power-ups you can get that like boost your guys like with some random thing, like 3 attacks give you armor, or doing this, I don't know. It's really, really fun, super addictive. I've been playing that a bunch.
So it's a one player, it's not a multiplayer trading card game?
It's not a trading card game. It's like a card game. You don't trade with anyone. You don't have to unlock, you unlock them just through playing, through leveling.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, anyways, enough about that. A new game came out, Dragon Ball Z Fighter Z, that came out on...
Shit.
I don't know when it came out, actually. 2 days ago or something? A day ago? As you can tell, it's an early access survival game.
Yeah.
I'm beating that dead horse. No, it's a fighting game, Dragon Ball Z. Super fun as well. So I played that a bunch.
The worst thing is, every time you say a game's a survival early access game, part of me goes yeah, it probably is.
I mean, everything is nowadays. Gamers Unknown. Did you ever hear about that game or see it on Steam?
Gamers Unknown?
Gamers Unknown. It was like
No.
a shitty ripoff, asset dump, just some shitty game, and the premise was you woke up from a LAN party and you find yourself in a forest. It's like a typical shitty zombie survival-esque game, piggybacking on PUBG, trying to get people confused, I guess, with the name, a parent's oh, let's get our son that Gamer Unknown thing, right? That's what it's called, and they get in this abomination.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
No, I was gonna, hopefully someone knows what I'm talking about, because that shit, pretty funny to look at. Anyways, I'll move on.
Okay.
I think that's it. Anyways, yeah, RuneScape related. I didn't really play at all, really. I've been
oh no.
I've been super, actually, I've been playing a lot of League too, so that might be part of the reason why I haven't played RuneScape, but I've been playing.
You got the League of Legends bug.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bored. I need to change it up. I played some Counter-Strike too, but played a lot of the DBZ stuff, and I just haven't played that much League, I guess, mainly because I'm waiting for the price of the dexterous scroll to go down so I can unlock Rigor.
Oh. You mean old school. You said League.
Oh, did I? Shit, I guess I still got in the mind. That's what League does. It just rots your brain.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'll just be
That's why I had to quit that game.
I'll just be raging and shit next episode. I won't even be making any sense. Just hear me
Yeah.
just fucking whacking shit the whole time. But
Just yelling at me after every response.
yeah.
You're gonna walk off the podcast.
Yeah,
Man, you can't surrender in a podcast recording.
Is it 15 minutes yet? Has it been 15 minutes?
Yeah. All right, I'm done. Deagin has left the channel.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just waiting for the dexterous scroll to go down so I can get Rigor and just crank out some raids. I did a bunch of Vorkath the week it came out after it got buffed. And I don't really want to do Slayer. I know it's good money, but pretty much I don't feel like watching a lot of Netflix and YouTube right now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Everything I'm doing or I should be doing, Hunter and stuff, it just requires me to just do something else while I do it. And it's You know, I got my fight stick working again. Like, oh, make sure I don't fuck anything up. You know, I got that fight stick working again, so I'm pretty happy about that. Dragon Ball Z is super fun. League is awful, but, you know, wastes some time. Slay the Spire is fun. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you. Sometimes you just gotta take a step back from RuneScape. This game takes, at least the end game is kind of, takes a lot of dedication. It's a huge time sink, and like, it's really easy to get burnt out if you're trying to do it all in one sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I both started when RuneScape first came out in 2013. I should say when old school RuneScape first started. Like, we probably played it the first week. I remember running around with all the lower levels and stuff like that. But
yeah, I remember bumping into someone, talking to him, and then finding out he went to our school.
Oh, wow, that's weird.
And I was kind of friends with him. Not really, but like friend of a friend. And I like chatted to him for a while. Yeah, super weird coincidence. I mean, like, honestly, so let's go on like a little tangent. So if you don't want to hear us skip like 5 minutes. Sorry, that's my armrest. If you hear that clicking, it's like a habit of just fucking with shit. Like the first like month or so of like, maybe even like more than that, I met some of the coolest fucking people.
Yeah.
Like me and this one dude, we met in like Fight Arena or something, like doing all the attack quests, like pretty much day one. And, we were just like dicking around. And then he started doing, like, he was like doing a clue scroll or something. We became friends at some point. We were talking. Ends up getting like a Robin Hood hat for, I don't know, it's like his third or fourth clue. And, he's like super low level and he like kept it for a while. And then he's like, oh, I'm getting deployed. I'm going off to the army. I'm probably never gonna get on RuneScape again. And he just gave me his Robin Hood hat. Chilled for the night and he left. Haven't seen him since. But like, it's kind of cool to like, shit, I had like a lot of good friends. I mean, all of them pretty much quit. But like, the beginning parts of like old school was super awesome. I mean, it's still awesome now, but you know what I mean? Like, it was very different.
It was kind of cool with everyone resetting and starting over again. But like, I know myself, I got burnt out really quickly because part of it was, and I see a lot of people come into the game. You'll see someone come into the CC and they're like a new player starting over again. And one thing that a lot of people have in common is they like old school RuneScape, but they miss their old account. They miss the stats they used to have, which is, it makes sense. And then, that's kind of the problem I had is I'm starting again and I'm getting like kind of burnt out because I'm really just rushing to try to get to an account that I used to have, which I was like level 110 back then. And it was a pretty shitty account for the level it was, but still, like, a lot of it was like, I don't really want to be doing this early game bullshit. Yeah, then I would get burnt out and I'd stop playing for a bit. But then I'd come back kind of with a different mindset, right? You're not thinking of like, all right, let's get back to my old account status. It's more like, I don't know, we're just going to enjoy the game for what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of realize how bad you were at RuneScape when you were a kid. Like, I got my stats so quickly. Like, if you look at my RS3 stats, like, they're not that good.
Yeah, that's true. Now that you mention it, you kind of had a lower account back in the 2007 era where we both kind of quit.
I distinctly remember coming home after school, like, every day for a couple days, and I was fishing at the fishing guild, and I would, like, watch my guy fish an inventory of lobsters, and I'd go cook it, and I hated it. It was so boring. I just didn't think of, like, doing other things while I did it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was it. I remember, because growing up, you and I we had two computers in our little office with a shitty small TV in the corner. I remember we would both like be arguing about what to put on TV while I was woodcutting and you were fishing. You know what I mean? Like, what TV show should we put on? Let's put on, like, ooh, The Simpsons is on channel 20. I don't want to watch Simpsons. Let's watch this show. And you're just basically, waiting for your inventory to fill up. And that's all you did on RuneScape.
Yeah. And I did, like, a lot of, like, bank standing. I did, like, a lot of those hot 10K bank sales.
Oh, shit. I missed those bank sales.
Yeah, go scavenge some trash around like Varrock or something, and just I'll see if I can sell it for something.
Oh yeah, bank sales were awesome. It's like in real life, it's like when you go to a yard sale and you don't really have anything you want to buy, but you just want to see what they got at the yard sale. You might see something you want, you might get a good deal for it, so you check it out. That's what a bank sale was.
Yeah, yeah. So sort of like end it there because nostalgic's a pretty heavy drug. We gotta put that nostalgia pipe away. We've been rambling for a little bit. I just want to say though, I learned something this week that I did not know, and it's that the Dragon Hunter crossbow works on Ulm.
Does it now? I mean,
yeah,
that makes sense in a old school RuneScape standpoint, but Ulm's not a dragon.
There was a post I saw on the Oldschool RS, which is, it's like if you go on Reddit, it's like the more serious RuneScape subreddit, as in there's no fucking memes and there's actual discussions.
Yeah.
With the recent buffs, the Dragon Hunter crossbow is better DPS on Ulm.
Oh, really? Like right now? Oh, with the recent buffs.
Yeah.
Before that, what was it? A blowpipe?
Yeah, it was a blowpipe. Now I use the Dragon Hunter crossbow, and the main thing is that it does more damage. On top of that, like when you're using a blowpipe against Ulm during his last phase, he's like shooting shit. He's like rocks or whatever fall nonstop. Mm-hmm. And you have to move over the whole fucking map or like back and forth nonstop, and you will lose DPS because like not everyone's like wooks and is like attacking every tick they can. Yeah, so yeah, it's just like more efficient to use. And like as of right now, the crossbows are like over 30 mil.
Wow.
Yeah, so it makes sense. So that's another thing I gotta say about Fork. So maybe I'll go grind fucking 300 Vorkath kills. Go buy that.
That's interesting. I think we should touch back on that later on.
Yeah.
We'll bring that up. I'm going to make a little side note here.
Yeah, anyways, we never got on to what you did this week, so what'd you do?
Oh, so that was your week right there?
Week and then random shit that we peppered in there.
Cool. Let's see myself. Nothing too exciting in the real life. Actually, on Friday we went to me and my girlfriend and then a coworker from work. It's a little redundant, but anyways, we went to it was a VR arcade, so a virtual reality arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They have the Vive kind of set up, the Vive headset and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like $25 for an hour, so you can check that out. And then they have a bunch of games installed that you can play. So that was pretty cool. It makes me really want to buy a VR. I'm probably not going to because it's so goddamn expensive. But I might keep an eye out on the Oculus and get it when it goes on sale or something. Because the Oculus is like $520 Canadian.
Yep.
So it's a pretty wild experience though. Like it's really cool.
Wait. Sorry to interrupt. But is that with all the parts, the ground sensors, the hand pieces, and all that stuff? The hand piece, the controllers.
It is.
Okay. Because
when
I was looking at it, it was like $1,000, but that was also like over a year ago.
The Vive headset is pretty close. Is close to $1,000.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm getting those mixed up.
Yeah, I don't know the exact reason why one's almost double the price than the other or whatever it is, but it is pretty cool. You can tell it's still kind of in its early stages. There's a lot of things that are still kind of getting ironed out. For instance, a lot of games, in order to move, you need to teleport. Like you'll point and then you'll get an arrow like with your in the game, and then you push a button, you'll teleport to that spot, right?
Okay.
And that's just so that it prevents motion sickness.
Yeah.
Like if you had like a joystick, it gets really tricky. And there was a game that a bunch of the games had the teleport, so I was so used to that. And then we jumped into another game and it had like the joysticks that made you move. And fuck, I got so dizzy like right off the bat, and I like almost had to take it off. And like I was just like, I don't like this. It was weird. So you can see why a lot of it's like teleporting, but it's pretty cool. Some of the games are pretty fun. The only problem is, from what I played, it's something that I would play some of the games for like, I don't know, half an hour or so, and then I'd jump on Old School Runescape. Like, they're fun. They're cool experiences, but it's nothing I'd like come home from work and spend 4 hours playing.
Yo, Old School VR? I want to go and look up General Grador's skirt,
man.
you know?
Dude, think about the wood cutting. You would get jacked. It's a good workout.
Yeah, or you just like break your hand punching a stud.
Yeah.
Get
God
dummy.
damn.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, going back to that VR thing, I have like 3 friends that have the Vive, and they were like, oh, you know, you should get it, dude. Well, 2 of them were like that, or one of them was like that, sorry. 2 of them were like, not telling me to get it, but kind of like, yo, this is the best thing I've ever gotten. But one of them was like, yo, you need to get it because it's the best thing ever. And they all get like 30 minutes of play a week, maybe. Probably even less.
They get, or they only play?
They only play it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, they've had it, they use it a lot for like 2 weeks, and then like, that's it. Like, it's exactly how you described it. Like, it's like, oh, like, dude, yo, Deagin, you gotta come play with us. We're playing this MMO, and it's super sweet. Oh man, you gotta come join us. And like 2 days later, they're like not on it. It's like, well, why aren't you playing it? Well, you know, it's clunky, and like, we'll play once they add more stuff to it. It's like, oh jeez.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's really cool. And that's why I keep saying it. They're really cool experiences, because it's cool to go on and experience that. But the games themselves they're okay. You know what I mean? They're not, it's no Grand Theft Auto 5. You know what I mean? There's not that much content within the game itself. Yep. Like, there's a game that's a rock climbing game, which is really cool, but you're not going to be like playing RuneScape and be like, you know, I really feel like climbing a mountain in virtual reality. It's something you'd play it if you had friends over or family and you wanted to show them. It's really cool, especially to see how they would react to it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But that's why those VR arcades, man, we're living in the fucking future. It's awesome. But that's why those VR arcades are awesome, because you go in, you spend an hour. We actually end up staying for 2 hours, and then you play a bunch of games, and then you're kind of done. And you're like, okay, boom, I spent like $50 compared to $1,000 plus a pretty good computer to run all this stuff, and you got to buy all the games separately, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it. Not much to say there. And for RuneScape, what did I do? It hasn't been too heavy of a week for me. I still have the 2 diaries that I want to finish, which is the Karamja and the Ardone diaries. I just haven't done them because I got to buy like 2 items that are both like 1 mil each, which is the Dragon Shield and that Gouter Tube. And I have the money right now, but I just haven't felt like doing it. So I had a Vorkath task, so I actually tackled that for the first time. Had 35 of them to kill. So that was pretty good. We talked about it earlier, so I won't go through all the mechanics of the fight. It's an alright fight, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's good money though. It's really good money. Didn't get any uniques. Never got the Vorkath head in the 35 kills, but
I mean, you might as well just get 50 kills.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably gonna do. But I want to take a break because it took me a while to get those 35 kills. Plus, I died a bunch. Like, once I started getting tired, I could not kill them, and I just got my ass handed to me and started running low on funds. So I backed out of that. Yeah, I think I've just been doing Slayer when I was getting on. I got demonic gorillas right now, so got a few more to kill there. Yeah, that's about it. It was not too much of an exciting week. It was pretty boring for me.
Well,
actually, before we move on, I should mention, because this is, I feel like we should talk about it real quickly. I did do a very little bit of Hunter because my rune crafting was level 69. Hey, look, we're on episode 69 as well. And so is my Hunter. And I wanted my Hunter to be higher, so my Tears of Guthix experience went into rune crafting. So I went and did the Hunter, and didn't feel like doing Salamanders, didn't feel like doing Chinchompas, so I went and did the monkeys from Monkey Madness 2. It's pretty AFK because you can only set one trap at a time. And what do you need? All you need is basically bananas, and you would place it underneath the rock. And each time you catch a monkey, you get about 1,000 experience. So it's not terrible experience, and it's super AFK. And yeah, if you ever decide to do that, bring baskets of bananas because they hold 5 bananas each. And then you can also bring tabs of bones to bananas because there's a bunch of bones that spawn there. And yeah, you can kind of do it that way. So yeah, not much to talk about, but fuck it, we'll give a quick little hunting guide right there for you if you've done Monkey Madness too.
What's the experience per hour?
What was my experience per hour? Pretty fucking low because I was doing it like super AFK, and that's why I chose to do that method. Let's see if you're being super efficient. So the salamanders, so the wiki is saying you will average probably between, if you have 3 traps placed down for red salamanders, between 45 and 50,000 experience. If you have 4 traps, that's 80,000 to 90,000, and you could actually get up to 110,000 experience per hour if you use complete focus. While the monkeys are about 65,000 experience per hour. So it's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
And you have like a very small chance of getting a monkey tail, which is what's used to string the ballista. It's a 1 in 5,000 chance, and it sells for what? 620,000. So it's just something that's a nice little reward to get. But
yeah,
you get that alternative if you don't want to do chinchompas or salamanders. Because like I said, you can only place down 1 trap, so you place down the 1 trap, and then you just sit there and wait. So it's not too bad. All right, that being said, let's move on to the news. Okie dokie. What went on this week?
Yeah, so before we get into the actual news, we have a little update on the mobile data. So previously, I believe we said it was like about 100 megabytes an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's not too bad considered like other games. And I just didn't really realize what I was saying. That's like, I have 3 gigabytes in my plan. And it's funny that I was saying that 100 megabytes per hour isn't that bad. It's like an hour a day of like old school, but I also use my phone for more than old school.
Yeah, definitely.
I just didn't realize how much that actually was until someone put it into perspective for me. That being said, though, they gave an update on the usage. What they released was incorrect by a lot. They messed up with like I don't know, somehow. Anyway, so the actual usage will be between 500 kilobytes to 2 megabytes per hour.
Wow.
And you'll be able to like
see now that
free
seems
cache or download all like the cache and shit for the game, so it like is not heavy on your data.
That seems too low. I mean, if it's that low, that'd be amazing, and I'd be super happy with that. But I'm a little skeptical.
If you were to hotspot off of your phone and only have the only thing connected to the internet on your computer was like old school, with like the default client and stuff, like, do you know how much that would be? Because I don't think it'd be 100 megabytes. Maybe it would.
An hour?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was doing it a lot when I was in those Airbnbs, and I've done it before when I just didn't have internet set up for whatever. But the only problem is I used the OS Buddy client. I probably did some Reddit browsing. I might have watched some YouTube videos, but after like, let's say like 2 weeks, I would have a couple gigs clocked. So it's hard to say, right?
Yeah. 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 Apparently that is the update though. So
cool. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, 98% improvement.
Oh yeah, that's
pretty hot.
That's huge. And you have 3 gigabytes on your plan? That sounds horrible.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I rarely get even close to 3 gigabytes unless I need to use my phone in like, okay, so like I'll never really go over my data, but then once I go to the cottage, all of a sudden someone grabs my phone because I have Spotify Premium and they don't, I guess. They don't even use Spotify because they're all fucking weird. And they'll just, they like their iPods, like their old school iPods. They're all weird. But they'll plug in my fucking phone.
LimeWire days.
Yeah, they plug in my phone and they just start plugging in whatever they want to listen to. And like, yo, here's your phone, Derek. And I like look at it and it's like, you're 113% over your data. It's like my thing reset. I made sure to time it up so it reset just before this weekend. It's day 2 of the long weekend. How am I out of data? And like they've just, well, it's an exaggeration, obviously. But like I'm not literally getting, 2 gigs in a day, but like, or 3 gigs, but like, you know what I mean? Shit kills my phone. So like,
you get damn close, and then you go like 2 megabytes over your data plan, and then Rogers is billing you for fucking an extra $300 on top of your bill.
Mm-hmm.
God, they're such a shitty company. I know in Canada we get like one of the worst mobile phone plans.
Yeah, we're pretty trashy like that, but yeah, whatever.
But yours is pretty. I got 10 gigs, and I get throttled when I go over my limit. So I never get charged more.
Yeah, I should probably
you gotta
update
get your
mine.
plan switched. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's crazy.
Yeah, we should move on
I'm
though.
on my fucking phone all day. Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, we're kind of rambling too much. So the first update I guess we should talk about is the Barbarian Assault Ranged rework. I think we talked about this in the past, actually.
Yeah, when they first proposed it, right?
Yep. So they did an overhaul for the Barbarian Assault Attacker, the ranged attacker role. This is coupled in with, hopefully, I think this is coupled in with some updates towards like the new dragons and all this stuff. So because this is the quality of life month. So a lot of the updates will be like all over the place. So anyways, we'll just start from the top. So they made they want to make a little like balance change to Addy and Rune Dragons.
Okay.
The Addy and Rune Dragons, they're supposed to have a guaranteed drop of 1 bone per kill. And they were like, that's OP. It's definitely gonna be worth more than Vorkath, I guess, like doing these dragons over Vorkath.
Yeah, that gives them like consistent money, right?
Yeah. So I think they added
on top of the money that's consistent from the rune bars and the adamant bars.
Yeah. So wait, do they drop those? Yeah, 1 runite and 1 Addy or 2 Addy. Yeah, that's fucked. That's stupid. So there was a chance, I think it was like 33% or something. I don't actually know. To get the superior bones from the dragons, but they want to just completely remove that just to get rid of some of the money from that, which I think is pretty reasonable. I do think that they should be like not the best money. You shouldn't want to camp Addy and Rune Dragons over Vorkath ever in any situation, unless you literally can't kill Vorkath. Like you died him too much and it's like an alternative.
Yeah, it should be an alternative or like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the last balancing change that they talk about is the Volcanic Mine. So in the final stages, the Volcanic Mine's boulder will take more damage if less people are contributing to chipping away at the rock. And normally they wouldn't make this, but the intention is to promote everyone working together to mine the rock in the final few stages of the mine, as opposed to letting one person reap the fragments rewards near the end.
Makes sense.
I don't know why. I guess it doesn't really work with Winter Todd, but people do solo Todd for like crazy amounts of points and they get like a shit ton of loot per kill.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they make a change. Like maybe, I guess it's probably a bit different.
Yeah, that I'm not too sure. Cause I hope I'm not speaking on my ass here, but I've heard that Volcanic Mine isn't as popular as I assumed. I'd never assumed it was going to be as popular as Winter Todd, but I thought that the Volcanic Mine world would always be fairly full, have a fair group that's always consistently going. But
I think the main thing is that it's really shit experience.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like this might be an unpopular opinion, but I thought it would be like a more active way of mining, while also being like competitive experience for, 2 ticking granite or whatever the fuck it is.
It's the exact opposite. So if you're tick manipulating granite, you can get like 100 or like 110k experience an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way you can make it more interactive than that, because you're literally clicking every single tick nonstop, just like.
Well, I mean, more interactive in the sense that you're like doing all these like Wintertod, right?
Yeah.
You're having to do all these different things. It's like it becomes this mini game, and it's really good experience. Although burning logs itself is way better.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite though. So it's pretty AFK from what I've been told. I had a buddy on release rush the kudos for it, and then did it for like 6 hours straight. And like he all he said to me was, honestly, go do Motherlode Mine. You get more experience there.
That's a shame. And like there's not even any good rewards that come from it.
Well, the big issue is that it's so it's so
Time consuming to getting all those kudos and shit to get to the volcanic mine. And it should be bad. Like if it's AFKable, it should be bad experience. Like, okay, power mining iron is the worst, but you have Motherlode Mine. Like there's the balance right there if you're trying to level up.
My only problem is it seems like there's no fun way to do mining.
Well, like,
and I mean, like,
that's how the game is,
not that there
right?
should be an actual fun way of doing it, but every single way you train mining, it's not that it's not fun, but it's fucking, like, it's brutal. It takes years off your life.
Well, yeah, that's like the whole, it's mining and runecrafting. They're like the slowest skills pretty much.
It's
some of the shittiest.
Rough.
Well, yeah, they're like the shittiest skills, and that's kind of how it should be, right? You don't. Thankfully,
like runecrafting is probably more fun to do. Even it's slower and takes longer, so that's the issue with runecrafting. But
yeah, you make a lot of money.
You make a lot of money, and you're moving around, so it's like the view kind of changes.
I mean, CMI, you just right click follow someone, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but every now and then you got to eat something, you teleport out. With mining, it's just like, you can't even really AFK at like wood cutting, so it's not like you can play something on the side.
Oh, you can AFK Motherlode Mining. The main thing is that
yeah, but it's not the same as like AFKing on like magic trees or yew trees, right?
Yeah, like I don't know, the main thing with Volcanic Mine is that it's different, but it's not that good of experience and rewards, so it's kind of just another, I don't want to say it's dead content, but it's just kind of like something you can do if you want, but mining's pretty set. I don't really think they should, if they want to change something, they should like change Volcanic Mine, but I think they're kind of slowly chipping away at that.
Yeah, it looked interesting to do, and I was kind of hoping it would be like, yeah, I don't know, a more engaging instead of interactive, a more engaging way of mining.
Yeah.
But I don't even see any experience per hour rates on the wiki, so
yeah, it's dependent on the people around, and I saw you can get like 95k an hour manipulating it with your alt, but I think they just nerfed that with this update. So, yeah. But yeah, anyways, we'll move on.
It's a shame. I'll try it out eventually for you guys and give you a quick shitty 10-second guide on my thoughts and what
it'll just be, yeah, don't do it.
Just pretend it's not there.
But yeah, with the Barbarian Assault, so they've, I guess they pulled this back in October. And this one they said they did. Yeah, so this issue, I guess, appeared when the blowpipe, it was super overpowered. Do you remember this? Barbarian Assault?
Yeah, no, I remember, yeah. And
you would just add whatever arrow to your slot, and you'd be able to shred through the attack points.
Oh yeah, that's right, you equipped it, because the blowpipe, you put the darts inside of it like ammo. So it works different than many other ranging weapons.
The range aspect, I guess, if you're doing attacker as a range, was really inconsistent. So like blowpipe, there was throwing knives, there's darts, chinchompas, all that stuff. You could abuse, because you're like the ranged weapon itself is equipped in your hand, you can get like maximum DPS and just be switching out arrows or whatever in your ammo slot, and that's kind of how you abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they removed the inconsistencies, and then range became pretty shit. So they've kind of changed it up. So they've introduced a new range of arrows that you can use in the minigame. There's bullet arrows, field arrows, blunt arrows, and barbed arrows. And yeah, and along with this, they added wrath runes. So that's pretty nice.
Oh yeah, that does make
so
sense.
these new arrows will replace bronze and mithril, and they have the same attack styles, I guess, or attack bonuses, sorry. So 46 range attack and 125 range strength. Yeah, and they're recolored to kind of fit in line with the runes too. So there's white, blue, green, and red, so that's pretty nice.
That's pretty decent. It did seem weird in the past where, like, if you do if you do Barbarian Assault, most of the time, if you're in the attacker role, melee outshines magic and range just tenfold, because the way that it's set up is, if you probably know that with melee, the guy calls you and all you have to do is change your attack style. So let's say you have your whip. You keep your whip equipped and you change it from accurate to controlled to defensive, whatever it is, right? But with ranged, as Deagin just mentioned, it gave you different arrows to use, basically. And the problem with that is, with your melee, like, your damage never really changes depending on what attack style it is. But with range, when you have bronze compared to mithril, it's a huge difference in how much damage you'll be outputting. And same with magic. If you're having to cast, like, air spells versus fire spells, your hits are changing a lot from that. So I wonder if we're going to see the magic change in the future, or if it even works that way anymore. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Everyone just uses melee for the most part, right?
Yep.
But I guess with this change, maybe we'll see a different variation of combat styles out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on. So it's kind of been memed about, but they added a observatory shortcut.
Cool.
Yep, with this, it's a grappling spot. They wanted to add a bridge, but they'd have to redesign the whole observatory place for this bridge. They just added a grappling spot. You need 23 agility, 24 range, 28 strength, and you gotta complete the observatory quest.
Right.
After grappling to the shortcut, it will remain in place for you to use freely, so that'll be pretty nice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The Dragon Bone necklace has already been buffed, so we're at that plus 12 prayer bonus. And
cool.
It has the prayer drain effect has been removed, but it has a 9-second delay. So pretty big buff to it. Hopefully we find some practical uses for it.
So it seems like with a Dragon Bone necklace, it was at about 4 mil before this update, and on the day of this update, it spiked up 500k to 4.5 mil, and then it immediately dropped down to about 2.4 mil, and it's been crashing ever since. It looks like it's currently sitting at, OS Buddy's saying 1.7 mil.
Damn, go buy some up. If it's that low, it'll probably rise back up at some point.
Either rise up or Jagex might buff them, just because I'm pretty sure they don't want this to be like a useless item.
Yeah.
It seems like they wanted something to happen with it, which is why we've seen these changes. And it's just kind of funny if you look at the market. It seems like people thought, like, oh, this necklace is going to have some use, and boom, they make the suggestion, so it goes up a little bit. They're like, okay, this is finally going to, they're going to buff this necklace, and then the update happens, and then everyone realizes that didn't change shit.
Yeah.
And then they just offload it. It just crashes.
Yeah. I do find it funny that the picture they show was a guy chinning at the monkeys in Monkey Madness 2. But everyone knows you get free prayer without the necklace, so why the hell would you ever bring this necklace?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean,
come on, Jagex.
It will help. You'll leave. I don't know how.
It won't. It actually...
No?
You lose a lot of experience over time. A lot.
Fair enough.
The thing, you can go there with, like, 2 prayer pots and walk out with a full inventory.
Is that how it works?
They drop 1-dose prayer pots pretty freaking often. Like, when I would go in full mage bonus, like, with next to no prayer bonus, I would go in, I'd have, like, my imbued heart, I'd have, like, 2 or 3 pots, I'd go in, I'd walk out with a full inventory. Or, like, close to that, because my runes ran out sooner than I expected.
That's a goddamn shame, I tell you.
Yeah. Jagex, come
Like
on.
I said, we're gonna keep our eye out for this Dragon Bone necklace because I have a feeling there's gonna be one Slayer task. You're gonna be like, oh, this is half useful.
Yeah.
Or there's gonna be some little
you kill
reason.
it and you don't have the bone necklace, you take 30 damage. Like, have some bullshit like that to just drive the price up.
I would not be surprised, but
Yeah. So they buffed the Dragonfire ward. They brought the melee defenses, or they increased the melee defenses by 10 and the magic defense by 6, just to kind of bring it more of like what it should have been.
yeah, a more tankier alternative to having your ranged offhand. Comparing this to the Twisted Buckler, Twisted Buckler will be better offensively, but it'll be a little bit weaker defensively, right?
Mm-hmm. They added the buff to the super anti-fire, so now they're 3 minutes instead of 2.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't know. You can make extended super anti-fire potions that last 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you put the super anti-fire potion with a lava scale and one hot spicy Reddit post complaining about things needing a buff when they don't. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of though. No, not really. You need 98 herb lore, so it's, it's balanced, It's very balanced.
Well, actually, it's something interesting to talk about. So I made a post probably about over a week ago on the the subreddit Oldschool RS, which is, as we mentioned, it's like as we mentioned, it's the more discussion based subreddit. And I was just basically doing, you might have seen these if you frequent Reddit. There's a subreddit called Change My View, which will be like, hey guys, this is my thoughts on this subject, and it's a very controversial subject, so change my view, tell me the arguments on why I'm wrong or why the other side's right. And you do it in like a respective way, right? Like, you're not gonna be a dick about it. So I did something similar about the superior anti-fires because I could not understand what Jagex was actually thinking when they thought about putting these items in the game, right? So I actually got a response from one of the J-mods, which was Mod Ed. He was the J-mod that I think he was one of the main guys that worked on Dragon Slayer 2.
Okay.
So I'll quickly read his post on why they thought it was a good idea to bring in the super anti-fires. Okay, so he says, with chromatic dragons, you can use Protect from Magic alongside a standard anti-fire to reduce all Dragonfire damage to 0. Seems quite a few people don't actually know that. This means that even before these potions, you could use two-handed weapons such as a blowpipe without taking damage. Because of this, all the new potion does is save you from having to pray at these dragons. With metal dragons, they work a bit differently, as prayer does not work on them. However, you can still reduce their Dragonfire damage to 0 with a shield and a standard potion. As metal dragons have different defenses to chromatics, all the weapons that are typically used against them are one-handed. This means that you're probably going to be using a shield against them anyways. So all these potions do at metal dragons is give you a bit more flexibility with what offhand you want to use. Right now, the general consensus seems to be that the minor benefits granted by these potions is not worth that much greater cost. We agree with this and are offering some improvements. As always, if you disagree with them, you can vote no. So yeah, that was his response to me being like, I made a few reasons why I thought they were overpowered, which kind of obvious. I know we've talked about it before. Things like where dragons are iconic monsters in the game, and their special attack is a very unique special attack. And it causes even the most, even the strongest players, they have to switch their usual offhand weapon or offhand item, and they have to use this shitty shield that basically has no defenses unless you have the Dragonfire shield.
Yep.
So it's kind of interesting. And I think part of the problem is a lot with this game. I always look like into the future, like the future of this game and the future health of this game. And sometimes I catch myself looking like really far into the future where like I'm talking about the next dragon boss they decide to bring into the game, which might not ever even happen. But again, it's like, this is where it gets controversial, right? Where I understand what Moded is saying, and I kind of agree with him on those points. Like, okay, yeah, that's true. You can negate a lot of the damage, but I just worry that in the future, this is going to fall into the category of, great, now we have to work monsters around this item, similar with the blowpipe and similar with the Dragon Warhammer, like, and the Twisted Bow, right?
I mean, they had to, when like Twisted Bow came out, they had to nerf buff. Hard to explain, but they lowered General Grador, like Bandos boss's magic by a lot. So now,
a slight rework of his stats.
So now you can blood and ice barrage him, which is kind of busted.
Right.
But this will kind of add to it. So wait. So Mod Ed was saying that a lot of people didn't know that you can pray magic with the shield. What was he saying?
Well, it's so like with brutal black dragons,
you drink a thing and you pray.
Yeah, you pray magic and you negate all like a bunch of the damage, right?
If you go to brutal black dragons, everyone's using a law book, a crossbow, and they're praying magic, and that's why there's an altar like right next to the place.
But I believe that also falls under for like if you're facing, let's say, just normal blue dragons or green dragons, when they use their fire attack on you and you have your shield, it'll reduce the damage. Not completely to 0, but they'll be hitting like 3s on you. And then if you pray mage against them, I think that 3 becomes a 0. I thought
everyone knew that. Like when you go,
well, that's the thing. There's so much to this game. There's a ton of there's tons of players that are kind of new to this game and stuff like that, and they don't know every in and out of it. They haven't learned it yet.
Have you ever ran by dragons without praying magic? Like you get fucked. Like you're like if you're running like to Rev Caves or something. And you don't have pray magic, you can get hit by a random fire breath from one of the green dragons and it can fuck you. That's why I see people like praying magic when they run by them. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna level with you here. I've never prayed magic when running through dragons. I just kind of roll the dice and hoped. I never even thought to pray magic, to be honest. So
wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
So maybe these are perfect for you. See,
exactly.
I'm gonna be real.
Specifically made for me.
I'm gonna be real. Whoever was like the first person to like really push this idea of like the super anti-fires last 3 minutes couldn't kill Vorkath in 2 minutes, and they got pissed they have to waste a dose on an extra dose on a kill.
That was me when I was doing Vorkath. I had to take 2 doses. I never complained about it. I never was like, we need these extended versions. I think the extendeds are a little bit ridiculous because
24 minutes of complete fire immunity. It's
for one potion. Yeah, like that's the thing. Like,
so here's the like, if you're going to KBD, like my trips at KBD last like between 15 and 20 minutes when I'm soloing.
Yep.
But now they're gonna last 24 most likely.
Not only that, you could probably bring the blowpipe.
Yeah, exactly.
And be able to solo it with your blowpipe.
Yeah, like I'd probably run out of inventory before, like, whatever. I can complain about this for a while. I do think it's really silly, and they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, but it's balanced because you need 98 Herblore, right? That's the kind of what their thought process is.
Yeah, now the only issue is, there's 2 issues there. One, will people with 98 Herblore be able to make money by creating these? And I guess that's it, right? Because they're tradable, so that's the problem. If they start dropping down in price to an extent, like most items, most potions cost money to create them. Like if you're training Herblore, you're almost always at a loss. If not always at a loss at some point. And
the only way you can really make money is by cleaning herbs and flipping them, but
yeah,
it's a pain in the ass.
You could do that.
You gotta clean like a million herbs. Yeah, whatever. Do you want to move on though?
Yep, let's move on.
Yeah, so I mentioned this before, but the Dragon Hunter crossbow got a buff. It has its accuracy and damage bonus against dragons upgraded from, it was 10%, now it's 30. We said that this is kind of a big bump. They probably had someone do the math and figured out what was more efficient, because on day one, there were spreadsheets of like, this is what out DPS is this. Like, okay, now this will be the most efficient to use on this. Like, people like just had it all ready to figure it out. So I'm assuming some JMods like probably did the math and was like, all right, this is enough.
Well, yeah, you definitely expect someone to, because if they didn't, then you shouldn't be buffing something by, 3 times the strength of it. If no one's back there crunching numbers, they're just kind of like, I guess we should do 30%.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. I mentioned this before when the new dragon pieces came out, but there are new ornament kits for them. So the plate body and the kite shield have new ornament kits.
Looking good.
Yeah, they look pretty dope. It all matches really well. And the necklace of anguish has an ornament kit, which kind of like reminds me of like a spider.
Yeah, that's true. It looks sick.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Yeah, you can get these from the master clue table. And the dragon boot ornament kit. Sorry, they also added that. Before I mentioned that, but that is on the hard clue loot table.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That being said, they did make the DFH, the dragon full helm. They've recolored its spikes to be more consistent with other dragon pieces. This is all in other news. You get the Chaos Druid as Wilderness Slayer assignments now.
Oh, cool. That's not bad.
Yep. They updated the tooltip on the special attack for the BGS. The damage counter at Corporeal Beast will now count damage done via magic and cannons. So Vengeance is not affected. I don't know. Only people I know that Cannon Corp are people that are soloing it, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So that's it for that update.
Interesting stuff right there.
Yeah. Some of the things kind of irked me that they got through the polls, but what can you do? So anyways, let's get on some stuff that I'm actually excited about and I'm not going to complain about. It is the Wilderness Rejuvenation 2 quality of life updates.
No way. We gonna talk about the Wilderness Rejuvenation again?
Yep.
Oh man, I fucking missed this. All right, let's go.
So they're gonna be starting. These aren't out yet. But they're gonna be adding this coming soon, and it looks like okay. This is the shit that gets me excited. So. First of all, they buffed the Revenant Caves, so that's perfect. That's exactly what I love.
Yes. We could come back and do fucking some segments of us complaining about shit? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, yeah. Actually, well, Rev Caves are trashy. But anyways, that's not what I care about. So the Major Arena 2 boss mechanics have been altered slightly to feel more challenging. I don't know what they mean by that. Because I found it challenging enough that I had to safe spot it and, like, abuse mechanics to kill it consistently.
I think the problem is like, it's just like an RNG-based fight. You just hope he doesn't hit you, and you hope you hit him.
When he's maxing, like, 30s on you, like, 5 times in a row, like, what do you do?
But there's sometimes I went and I only used half an inventory, while other times I got, like, my whole inventory got crushed, and he was only at, like, a quarter health.
But yeah, so they altered his mechanics more to feel more challenging. Hopefully I wish they would kind of specify, but whatever. They've completely recreated the Major Arena 2 boss graphics and new assets.
Cool. No way.
Yeah, you can no longer use the twisted bow against them.
Right on.
And they've expanded on the story of the Major Arena 2, and it follows more closely, or it will now follow closely. Holy shit. It will now more closely follow typical lore. Jesus, that's hard to say. I don't know why.
It's worded kind of weird, but so it's gonna have some lore.
Yeah.
No way.
Yep. So they have a lot of detail, and everyone hated all the shit they did, so they kind of just released all this stuff early to, like, let you know, like, what do you think about this stuff? Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Guthix boss and the Saradomin boss?
Yeah, I got them pulled up right here, actually. They both look pretty cool.
The Guthix is an Ent. It's the Guthix Ent boss, designed by Mod Ghost. And Mod Ghost makes, I really like the shit he makes. I think he makes really, really, like, I love it. I mean, I like the Saradomin Knight, which was made by Mod West, but the Ent looks so badass. Its animation of it, like, coming out of the ground and stuff, like, kind of sprouting.
Yeah, that does look pretty cool, although we don't have an animation for the Saradomin Knight, so that could be different, but, like...
Which is, well, one of them works harder than the other, you know?
Yeah. It does look good, like...
I'm just saying, how the hell do you top that? That's probably why there's no animation for it, because he probably, like... You know, it's like if you're, doing presentations, and, like, someone has a really, really good presentation, and then, like, you could go next, but you'd rather wait for someone else who's isn't that good.
Yeah.
You don't want yours to look like complete trash, so he's like... Maybe he's got some sweet animations and stuff for the boss, but he's like, you know what? I don't want to share it right now.
Yeah,
But
you wait for the person with a shitty project to go up first.
Yeah.
So that you can look good. I got a quick little story about some of the days in high school. It's relevant to that part. I was in music class and I played the trumpet, but I was literally the worst person. Like, I was the worst in my class. Like, by far, I was just horrible. And the way our tests would do was you'd have to play a song, and then it would be someone would randomly get selected, and then they could choose whoever goes next. I went second for every single fucking test. Every test, I would get chosen second after the first person got chosen by the teacher.
Nice.
And it's not even like people are going to gaff on their friend, like, oh, I'm going to get Dylan. Oh, it's going to be so funny. It's more like, yo, this guy's so bad that I'll just do him next because everyone will forget how bad mine was.
Yeah.
Every goddamn time I was chosen second. Oh, I hated it.
When it was my turn for music class, I played the xylophone. Dude,
so you had percussion. That's
dude,
so good. I had...
The thing is, my percussion partner, so there's drums and xylophone, you're supposed to switch every week. He was a dick, would never let me play drums. So, and like, we had a drum set at home, so I could practice there. And, so I would fucking shred the xylophone. You know, it's like, dude, we do like, Canada for like some big assembly, and they'd be like, yo, Deagin, you want to go play it on the xylophone with like the choir and everyone? And be like, oh, dude, it was awesome. But when a test time came, my partner was like really, really bad. He's like, all right, dude, you gotta show me how to do this. And I'd be like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah. See, that sounds so much easier. The problem, okay, I'm not going to go on this huge tangent. I'm just going to explain real quickly why I was so bad at the trumpet. Because it's not because I didn't practice. I practiced really hard, but everyone else in my class, in their elementary school, so from grade, let's say 4 to grade 8, they learned clarinets, flutes, and like trumpets and stuff. And then in grade 9, when they went to high school, they just kind of went into that one. In my school, we played like the recorder for like 2 years in grade 4 and 5, and then we went and played like acoustic guitar. And then and then when I went to high school, they didn't have guitars or recorders. So I just went into the trumpets because I needed more people in the trumpet section. And yeah, that was
That's the life.
yeah.
That's I'll get
the
you.
life.
So that's the analogy of both these guys. I mean, okay, the Saradomin Night Boss looks fucking cool as hell. I really do like him. I like his like blue hand and shit. His sword too. I do like his sword. Like I really like it. The only thing is his armor kind of reminds me more of like Armadillo. An Armadillo like dog. You know what I mean? Looking at it, but
yeah, it's got like the pointy ears or something like that, but I mean, Armadillo and Saradomin are slightly aligned together as we all know now, right?
Yeah.
So we've been educated on lore a little bit.
So kind of related, because like, okay, I was thinking, why wouldn't they just make him some sort of like holy angel-esque thing? But we know that the Chinese overlords did buy Jagex. And we speculated in the past they might be trying to get a RuneScape version into China. Like RuneScape into China, but there's an issue with like gods and demons in their games.
And skeletons and shit.
So maybe they didn't do that, so these assets could be used in that, if that ever like happens.
Yeah, I mean,
They would. I mean,
I
they
don't
would
know.
have to change some, but maybe I don't know. These are pretty cool though. I'm really excited to see the Zamrock one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder what the Zamrock's going to be, and I hope they didn't leave it out because they're not going to change the Zamrock.
I hope it's like a.
Well, demons are fucking aligned with Zamrock anyway, so we'll just leave it
I hope
out
it's
there.
just like a puddle.
What?
Just a puddle. You're like walking and just like a red puddle, not even a puddle of blood, just like
You
Like-
just start taking damage?
like a red 3x3 square that you're fighting. That's
a
it.
jelly?
No, like a flat 2D on the ground, just piece of paper. Just the laziest
not every
thing
color.
that they could come up with.
It just has Zamrock typed out.
Yeah.
You just fight the text.
Comic Sans. Yeah. But yeah, the Rev Cave changes. We'll go in like more into detail because I love the Rev Caves, as you guys know. They'll keep the NPCs as they are, and they want to create brand new assets for all their unique drops. So drop table changes, increase the likelihood of landing on the normal loot table instead of coins. Remove some of the lesser valuable drops. I'm hoping that's like rune warhammers and stuff. Increase the quantities of regular loot and tweak various weightings across the normal loot table. All official 100 times drops will be removed. Added
No way.
a 16, 8, and 4 mil statuettes to special loot table and change the odds on the special loot table to accommodate this.
Okay.
You should average 2 mil an hour, and we're open to replacing the statuettes in the future if unique rewards can be agreed upon. We encourage you all to send your suggestions to the forum that they don't read, and 2007scape and Oldschool RS. I'm always going to say they don't read the forums, because who does?
I tried to.
Yeah, they're pretty much saying, the thing is, I don't like about this is so passive-aggressive with, like, yeah, okay, so we took out, like, Dragon Plate Leg times 100, or we're going to, and we're gonna add, like, these statuettes that are worth 16, 8, and 4 mil. I mean, it's kind of shitty, but you guys voted no on all the cool uniques that we took from RS3 and wanted to put in this game.
Yeah.
So it's your fault. I mean, I mentioned this in the past. If they took out these items and added PvP armors that weren't tradable, would you, like, okay, so it's let's say it's like a 1 in 1,000, right? Let's say you have to kill like 1,000 to like 1,500 revs, like the higher end revs, not like imps and stuff. Let's just say like the medium level revs, 1,000, 1.5k to like on average get the full set of like a PvP gear that's untradeable. Would you be more okay with that as opposed to tradable?
Again, my problem was with the stats, right? The stats were a huge jump from what we currently have. So
Yeah.
I would be more okay with that, because of how hard it would be to get. And like, you know, you get killed and you lose it. You can't just go out and buy another one because you like to stake all the time. Or let's say because you're a streamer who gets a shit ton of donations to go PKing, right?
Yep.
So they're able to have a bunch of these items stocked up in their bank. If they have to go out and actually grind it Iron Man style, I'd be more okay with it. But even still, like it was the stats I was always not cool with.
Yeah, the stats were pretty high. But like, here's one thing. Av's Assembler is literally 2 times better, a bit more than 2 times better than the Accumulator. So the Accumulator is +4 range bonus, and it's got like 4 magic defense, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And the Assembler is a +8 range bonus, a 2 range defense bonus, 8 magic, 1 melee across the board, and then 2 strength. So that's like much better.
Yeah.
Much, much, much better. But to get one, you have to kill at least 50 Vorkaths,
Which means you have to do Dragon Slayer too.
and then grind a boss, you know, possibly like 2 to 3 hours of grinding a boss, right? So you have to get the stats, get the 200 quest point requirement. Like, it is a grind to get these, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem that bad for us because they came out with the stat requirements, and I like looked at them and went, okay, I'm good. I don't have to worry about, like, I had all the requirements already. And I think I said you get one every 50 kills, but I'm at like over 100 and I didn't get one on my 100th kill. I have like
no,
4.
yeah.
I have 4 or 5, but I got them all within kill count, within 50 kill counts. I got really lucky.
You get your first one no matter what on kill count 50.
Yeah,
but then
the rest is one out of 50.
Yeah, it's RNG based.
Yeah. So if you want to go deep worldy PKing with it, so if you're under 20 wilderness, you have to repair it, and it's cost 75k, which is quite a bit of your edge PKing with it. That's quite a bit, 75k repair.
Yeah.
And then if you lose it in 20 wilderness, like that could potentially be like 4 hours of grinding to get it again. Not, you know what I mean though? Like,
yeah,
5 hours of grinding, 4 hours depending on your stats or whatever and how well you can kill the boss.
Yeah.
I know that the armor is like, you know, people don't really PK in full Torags or Bandos deep wildy. But if they...
Generally not.
Well, yeah, unless you're like Spark Mac and you have like 80 like Ellies and bullshit. Not jealous. Like, I don't know. I feel like the more I think about it, I'd be more okay with like those armors, even like at their stats. I do think their stats are way overtuned. The ones they suggested, maybe they tuned it down a little bit, but if they made it untradeable and they made it the equivalent of getting something like the assembler, because they wanted these guys to drop the best in slot range gloves. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Us included, we're like, no, we're open to the idea. It is silly that the Barrows gloves is the best in slot range gloves and melee gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be mage up until this year. Well, I guess last year, but we don't want it to get to drop from a kill, and that's I think it might be the same thing with these unique armors.
Yeah, but the only problem is I do not think we're going to be seeing these unique armors coming back. I'm pretty sure they locked that shit away and burned whatever box they put them in.
Yeah.
Instead, we might see more like completely new uniques. Maybe like the minus experience genie lamp, which, I mean, I'm not gonna go on about that item there, but you can see it. They don't really know what to put in the fucking revs drop table. Like they have no idea, which is why we have like construction items in it, and those sell for a fair bit now, right?
Yeah, and it's also, what do they have, like a 1 mil, a 4 mil, 8 mil, and a 16 mil? I think there's another type of statuette plus the emblems you can get. Like after this month, the drops you're looking for are statuettes.
Yeah, they're gonna be. It's GP. You may as well be getting a 16 mil GP.
Yeah, that everyone sees. And it's really silly that, like, they don't even know what to put in it because they're not specific and they just add these statuettes. But, like, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of just hope that they
come up with something
better.
I hope they take a look at all these other people who are pitching ideas like this. For example, the construction... the thing to build the obelisk.
The big issue is that they do, but it's like the loud minority they listen to, right? They listen to the same guys that made PVM PKing Spade, like, PK Spade meme for, 2 months straight. Those are the guys they listen to, like the guys that just shitpost nonstop, and then like one of them's like, hey, black background, yellow text. Here's my idea for EXP lamp. And then like next week they're polling it. And you're like, what? That is such a shitty idea. Why? And they go like, well, why are you guys saying no? Like, it was highly upvoted on Reddit. You know what that's
the problem. They gain traction. That's what I'm saying. I hope they actually are going through and looking at some of the posts that might get a few upvotes, but they're not getting traction super hard. Because they might look at them and be like, these are some interesting ideas. We'll make a little list and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, we'll move.
Because I'm pretty sure you agree with me on this one, though, but we do want the Rev Caves to be, like, really good content. And not just good money, but, like, actually well-done content with a good and cool, unique drop table.
I probably mentioned it before, so I'll just say it quickly. What I want the Rev Caves to be is, like, something PKers can go to for, like, an in-between of boss hopping. Because generally, if you're deep worldy PKing and you're looking for PVMers, you go, all right, let's hop 20 worlds in Venenatis. All right, Callisto, Vedian. All right, back to Venenatis. And that's like kind of what you do. Like, let's wait at like Burning Amulet teleport spots. No, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of waiting for PVMers and shit, and like. Or quote unquote, yo, I'm totally waiting for PKers, dude. But like, you want a place to pull PKers, like, where like, you want a place where PKers fight other PKers. That's where you want. You want to like, pull them into an area. You want it to be less, quote unquote, like, risky, I guess, to go hunt Black Chins. You're gonna go hunt Black Chins and have fucking Abyss come up in like 500 mil risk and just kill you, and you're like, that's fun. He's like a Twitch streamer that like risks 500 mil and just kills Black Chinners all the time. It's disgusting. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Whereas like Ellie's and shit, you're like, okay, go, alright, whatever. There's 40 guys, they're all TBing. Okay, alright, well, I like hunting in the wilderness. Oh, I like bossing in the wilderness, same thing happened. It's like, you wanna make the PKers go stand in a spot where they can have their fun. Anyways,
an ecosystem.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an ecosystem. Shit, Blizzard's taking out PvP servers because they realize it just doesn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like,
That's a shame. I love the days of raiding Orgrimmar or raiding.
Yeah, they're changing it. I can go into like, so pretty much they're changing it where you have to go to a major city and you have to opt enough. You have to flag up, and then you just go out and now you're flagged. You can't
So
just
it's
join
like
a
the normal
PvP.
servers.
Yeah,
Because normal servers you could flag up,
but you can only do it in like
people.
in major cities.
That's
It's stupid. But I think they
it's kinda
realized
dumb.
that like having a natural PvP system isn't fun for the people dying all the time, because like I played on a PvP server and most people on my server were people that like, oh, all my friends here, I hate PvP, but one person joined and we all followed him. I hate getting ganked, and I'm that dick that's like, yeah, I was leveling and the fucking horde killed me like twice, so I'm gonna go kill every single one that I see. And then, it's the same thing when I go PKing, though. It's like, I fucking die all the time as, like, a PVMer to these guys. I'll kill some PVMers and I'll go fight some PKers.
But the PKers are the ones that like run away
More than the PVMers side. I've had more people try and anti-PK me than people have a fair fight with me in the wilderness. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm jumping, like, when I go to the Rev Keys with my buddies and, like, we're jumping people, we'll have people fight back and give better fights than, like, dudes that, like, are in full Mystic with, like, Toxic Trident, Max Tribrids, and you're like, do you know what I mean? Like, they fucking will Ice Barrage you and just run away, Venom you and leave. And you're like, oh.
fair enough.
Ecosystems don't work. They have to kind of force interaction between PKers, and it's gonna die if not. But, anyways, sorry, another ramble, but, so for this upcoming month, so the first week, which was this week, was the PVM update, which was the Barbarian Assault, the Rune Dragons, all that juicy stuff. Next week will be skilling. Week 3 will be PvP, so that'll be the Mage Arena probably, I'm assuming, and like all this rev trash we're talking about. And then week 4 will be mini games and other, so things they forgot pretty much. But
Last Man Standing coming back?
nah, it's dead.
They're pulling up the defibrillators?
Be the last mini game standing. I'm just saying, if you want to go scam someone, go to Last Man Standing, because no one's going to be there to tell them, hey, you're getting scammed.
Too true. I'm sad now. I had fun times there.
Yeah. The first poll will be live by the time you guys are listening to this, so make sure you go over and vote. Yeah, just make sure, quality of life stuff. Yeah, that's it for the news.
Cool. Always like the quality of life stuff. That's always it's good. It's good to see them slow things down, take a look at the game they currently have, and go back and fix things and make things better, because a lot of stuff in old school RuneScape slightly broken or is slightly shitty to do. And we played a clip during the whole wilderness rejuvenation chaos that was going on. I think it was then, where Mod Mark, and he's basically the head, not head developer, but he's like the team lead for RS3. But as well as kind of like the whole Jagex in general. Like, I always think he's like the figurehead at the top, right?
Okay.
And we played a clip where he said the problems with RuneScape 3 is they were always looking about what's next, and they never looked back at the other things they delivered that didn't do well, and they didn't fix things that were broken. And by the time they thought, like, hey, let's go back and fix this, it was kind of too late, and it was like almost pointless to fix it, right?
Yeah.
It's I'm glad they spend. I wouldn't be upset if they spent more than just 1 month going back and doing some cute quality of life stuff, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah.
But keeping on the topic of quality of life, as you can probably tell, it's not a whole lot kind of went on this week. It was it was kind of a slow week, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Just in general. So that's why if we're rambling, we're kind of, not that we're encouraging it, but we're kind of just letting it happen because, again, there's not a whole lot that kind of went on within the community and stuff like that. But yeah, since we're on the topic of quality of life, and I know I touched on it last week, I'm just going to bring it up again. But whenever I hear quality of life, it does make me think about, like, just, I wish the way Jagex approached buffing and nerfing items a little differently than the way they currently do it. And I wish they would, like, just slowly tweak it over a handful of months. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. You avoid problems of, like, having a Dragon Hunter crossbow going from 10% damage bonus to 30% damage bonus in one leap. I mean, it's kind of fun to see the price of it just go soaring up, going from like 20 mil, then bam, up to 50 mil because of the giant jump. And like, I guess it would help people not manipulate the market, but it would help them kind of predict what was going on if they're doing these small little buffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like it would be so much easier for Jagex to get these items to a place they need to be where they're not like hurtful to the game. Where, I don't know, like, let's look at the blowpipe. It's a pretty strong weapon. It's used in a lot of things. Do you think that weapon is too overpowered for this game?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
So I think they should take out Venom in general on weapons. Have bosses venom you, but I think Venom is disgustingly OP.
What if... So I like the idea of, like, Poison's really cool. That's kind of like the only dot we have in the game. So Venom, I like the idea of them introducing a second one.
Well, the main thing with Poison is that it scales down the longer a fight goes. So you poison someone, it'll take for 8, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
With Venom, it goes 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But it goes, like, that is downplaying it by a lot.
Yeah. What if the Venom started at, like, 1? And then it would ramp up.
Well, the thing is that Venom ramps up pretty hard. Like, I don't know the numbers. Here, let me look it up. But if you're deep worldy PKing and you get venomed, you just leave the fight. And if you don't have anti-venom, so the damage starts at 6 when the first time you get venomed, and every 18 seconds it increases by 2, capping at 20.
Yeah, okay. Personally, I don't think Venom itself is a bad thing to have in the game, but the way it's being done, it might be a little too strong.
Yeah, so
maybe if they did it, started at 1 damage, and then it would go up just by 1s.
I'm just saying, the second you get venomed, within that next minute, you're taking 24 damage.
Yeah, it is strong. I know in my pure, I was facing somebody that had I think it was the Toxic Staff of the Dead.
Yep.
Something like that. And I was facing them, and they were doing some spell on me that was hurt with the Tomb of Fire, so it was kind of hitting me pretty hard. And then I got Venomed, and I was like, okay, no problem. I'm just Venom. I still have a bit. And then I got comboed out for like a 15 with the Venom, and then plus his hard hit just killed me. And I was like, oh.
Yep.
And that's where I learned my lesson. You're Venomed, teleport out, or bring an anti-Venom.
Yeah, so 24 Venom, right? You get hit. The second you get Venomed, you get like that next minute, you take 24 damage, right?
Sure.
The next minute, you're taking 42 damage.
Are you getting hit every 18 seconds?
Per 18 seconds. One hit of 6 per 18 seconds, and increases by 2 each time it hits, capping at 20. So I'm like rounding to 20, but yeah, you get hit. every
See,
18
it would
seconds.
be nice to see, like, again, I'm not saying take out Venom, but maybe nerf it.
Like, even have it where, like, you can, I don't know. It's just weird that it has flat scaling. Like, so 24 the first minute, 42 the second, 58 the third, 60 continuing, but you're dead on the fourth minute. That's an absurd amount of damage. Like, one brew is 64 HP.
Mm-hmm.
So you're, like, going through multiple brews to Venom alone. And, like, if you're getting hit every, like, 2.4 seconds, let's just say, you know, by a random person that's, like, you know, hitting you with whatever, maybe your Tribert or whatever, like,
Yeah.
you just take a lot of damage, and it's weird that you can get hit by a spell that venoms you. It was weird that you used to get venomed by hitting someone. Good thing that I guess they took that out, but I do think that the blowpipe, the venom should get taken out from that, and the toxic staff. Like, some people like, I guarantee you, if Venom was pulled today with these numbers, like, they would not pass. Like, it is,
Yeah.
it's really strong. Like, it is really strong.
And, like, that's the thing. So honestly, there's probably, like, a fair list of things that need to get nerfed or just kind of looked at. But the problem is, it just seems like unless Jagex plans on doing a heavy nerf, and, like, boom, either Venom is super strong or bam, now it's useless.
Yep.
It's like they're too afraid to do these little tweaks and, like, get it to a place where it can fit in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So they either just leave it or then they do this change that fucking just really, like, actually hurts it. And same with buffs. They, you know, Dragon Crossbow again goes from being, you know, pretty, and, like, the problem is, though, is, like, it seems like they, I don't know. Let me ask you then. Do you think they should be pulling nerfs and buffs to items?
No.
You think they should just do it as they see fit?
I think what they should do is they should look at what everyone is doing. So Edgeville, everyone's fucking Granite Maul. Like, everyone's a Granite Maul pure. So, like, okay, that's weird. You look at high level tri-breeding, it's AGS and or Granite Maul or a Dragon Claw and or a Dragon Claw. So there's three variables at high level tri-breeding. PvP worlds, you'll often see AGS, D-Claw, or Granite Maul. You see, like, alright, well, everyone's using a Granite Maul. Is it overtuned? I don't know. Let's look into it. Let's see the average hit people are dealing with it. Let's, like, look at the average pure in Edgeville that's using it. Let's average their stats and see what they could hit on average with a spec combo. And then, okay, now let's see, okay, well, you know, maybe their attack, maybe they're just, okay, now let's go look at this. Like, they need to actually spend time and look at the people that are, like, not abusing it, but overusing it and seeing why it is. And then looking into it. I know it's like, oh, if they nerf the G-Maul, they'll go to the DDS, and then they'll nerf the DDS. It's not that. It's like, in an ideal world, you would want to see other things. You'd want to see, like, more variety. Like you said, your Staff of the Dead pure that you fought, they are completely busted. They are so overpowered. The trade-off is that most people that have one botted for it. They bought 75 strength or 75 attack. I was gonna make one, but, like, keeping one, you know, just getting 75 attack would take, like, months and months and months, and I'm not gonna dedicate the time. I, like, need to finish my Obby Mauler, so I need to get the money for bonds for him. But, they have to, like, look into, like, they need someone dedicated to look into this and see, like, if it's actually broken. You know, like, they could look into it and see, like, oh, Granite Maul's actually not that good. Alright, we'll leave it alone. And then this is why they're leaving it alone, and they, like, give evidence as to why. And then I'd be like, okay, like, I'm not saying the Granite Maul is overpowered. I'm saying it's really, really strong, but might be worth looking into. I mean, hell, they nerfed Void Range. And, like, the big issue was Ballista into Granite Maul. What'd they do? They changed the Ballista. Well, now it made Granite Maul's a little bit better, like, with the combo with it. Alright, well, we're gonna nerf Void Range then. We're gonna buff Elite Void, though, so it kind of balances out.
Yeah.
I like that kind of an approach, but... And they did the same thing with the heavy ballista. Like, that was kind of cool. I'm not saying... I mean, it would be kind of funny to lock the Granite Maul behind Dragon Slayer. That would be pretty amazing to see the shitstorm go down. Maybe, put that in a little, the vault for April Fools. Just don't let people use a Granite Maul for the day and say you have to have Dragon Slayer 2 done.
Or you change the spec so it heals your opponent.
Oh my god.
just for shits and giggles.
Or it just home teleports you.
But anyways, the problem with, like, if we go into PKing, and a lot of this does fall into PKing as well, it's just like there is always going to be like an item that's better than the others. For instance, like the DDS is pretty strong, and for a while that was the go-to weapon for specking.
Yeah, until Gmaul came out.
Yeah, no, the problem. Yeah, I agree. Like, you need someone who can look at it, and they're not gonna, like... That's the thing. You don't do these... Like, if you're gonna be having someone look at it, don't do these massive nerfs where, like, boom, now you're like, okay, well, now the Gmaul is, like, a huge nerf. Like, what's wrong with, like, tweaking it? Like, doing, like, 5 increments of small nerfs until you can be like, bam, it's good.
I think the big thing, one, Reddit crybabies... I'm honestly, I hate to be so negative, but people on Reddit will freak out. I'm not saying nerf the Granite Maul. I'm not saying it's overpowered. I'm saying, like, but, like, it's also because, like, the game is so RNG based. If it's just, like, something specifically PvP, like, dude, there's a guy I was, like, deep wildy PKing. The guy is the wrong overheads, full mystics, and he's risking, like, 12 mil. I go up and double Gmaul spec him and whack him with my BGS. Nothing. All zeros. And you're like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, that's the freest kill ever. And I hit all zeros. Like, I do that, 9 times out of 10, I'd kill him.
Yeah,
or,
sure.
like, hit him, at least, right? Like, and it sucks, right? So if you nerf it by, like, 5 accuracy, no one's really gonna notice.
But if you have someone kind of watching the statistics, and, like, they just do it, because you don't want the Granite Maul, we'll use that as an example, to just never be used. You still want it to be a good PKing weapon, but maybe not as, like, there's things you might want to look at to changing it to make it so it's not the go-to weapon.
But that's why they should, like, have someone sit down, look at all the brackets, look at everyone that uses it, like, try to find out averages and see, like, oh, okay, maybe they, like, want it to be a high damage dealing weapon that's very inconsistent, and maybe that's not what is happening, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's too inconsistent. And, like, maybe it's too volatile and they want to, like, bring it more closer to the center or, whatever. Like, it's an easy example because people do like hating on the Granite Maul. It is really strong, but
yeah,
so is a AGS. A DDS is decent too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You kind of want... It's cool to have a variety to pick from. You don't want it to be like, well, you should be using this one. You know what I mean? Like, I go PKing with my DDS, and I'll face a guy with an AGS. Sure, the chances of him winning are a lot higher. You know what I mean? But I know for a fact I still have a chance if RNG is on my side. Because it's happened, right?
Yeah.
Where the DDS can still hit pretty hard. And you get double the amount of specs with it. So...
Yep.
Things like that are pretty good, and the reason I'm bringing this up too is because when you get going forward with the game and coming out with these new items, part of me is, like, always worried about the next item. Like, how long will it take for them to nerf it if it's too overpowered? Will they nerf it?
Well, here's the thing: are they ever going to nerf the Twisted Bow?
You know what I mean? Who knows, right? That's the thing. You don't.
Do you think they should though?
It seems pretty strong, but my problem is like, I don't have a Twisted Bow, so I can't tell you, like, how strong it is compared to something else. I can watch other people, but I don't have first-hand experience with it. The blowpipe I can use, and I can tell you, like, yeah, I don't touch any other ranged weapons almost ever. And I know how strong that one is. Or, like, the AGS, I'll face people who have an AGS, and I'll see, you know what I mean? Or the Granite Maul, I'll face somebody who has the Granite Maul, so I have first-hand experience on what it can do. Twisted Bow, I don't even see too much of it. Maybe in the future when you start seeing it, like, how many people, like, when you start seeing an increased amount of players using it, you might be able to see, like, all right, or if I get one, all right, this is crazy. It should not be this strong.
I mean, go watch Zulu, I think it is, or maybe it's Jakeysaurus or some like RuneScape PVMers that do YouTube videos. Obviously they're RuneScape PVMers. I'm talking about them, but one of them or maybe both of them do PVMing with the twisted bow, and you'll go like, really? You're just like hitting 60s all the time on this boss? Huh. That's a little broken. But then you go, well, it's one bill.
Yeah,
but then
I'm not one to ever think of price when it comes to items like this.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it's one bill and it's super rare to get, but it doesn't matter. The fact
But the main thing is that because it's one bill,
they're not going to nerf it. And they can't make a better bow unless it's completely different.
Yeah, so that's where things might start. That's when you might see them talking about a nerf when they want to release some more items, but they're like, well, we can't release something that's going to be hitting hundreds all the time. Again, I'm not saying you can't release an item that's the new best ranged weapon, but you know what I mean? You don't want to do like such huge leaps because then it gets a little squirrely out there. And I think the problem with the twisted bow is not enough people have it to be kind of complaining about it. If it was more popular like the blowpipe,
people that have it earned it or staked for it. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So they're not going to go like, man, I've been playing this game all day, every day for like 5 years. They need to nerf this item I just spent all my time getting.
Yeah.
No one's going to say that. They're like, well, fuck you. I earned it. And it's like, yeah, can't complain. It's broken, but yeah, I agree. You did earn that. Like, you definitely put in way more time in this game than I have. Like, shit.
Yeah. But, you know, yeah, I just hope they would look at these items a bunch. There's a huge list. And, like, some of the items that they do, that they have nerfed in the past, they do these huge, giant nerfs in one shot. And like you said, I think it's to avoid prolonged outcry within the community. You know what I mean? You nerf the void. Sure, people complain about it, but then after a while, it dies down. But if you do these increments, it'll kind of last a lot longer. But that's why you gotta have someone who doesn't use that shit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do just wish they would tackle nerfing and buffing a little differently, and I don't think they should pull it. And this is why I don't think they should necessarily pull some of the, or if not most of the buffs and nerfs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's take a little stroll down memory lane, because I'm pretty sure we were both playing during this time.
Sure.
Okay, so the date is November 19th, 2014. They came out with a poll. Well, they called it a survey, and it was called the Oldschool Game Integrity Survey. In this poll, they said, over the last few months, parts of the community have raised multiple issues about content or activities which some of you believe undermines the game integrity of Oldschool Runescape. And we want to put out a survey to find out what you think of each of these issues and to what extent you think we should deal with them. So, during this is kind of the dark ages of Oldschool Runescape, where this game was pretty fucking close to a private server in some of the aspects of the game.
20k players, people splashing to 99 magic, AFKing.
Exactly.
NMZ
right,
6
so
hours. What?
There's 5 questions in this poll that were allowed to be voted on. Each of them had 3 answers, and it's kind of surprising what the results kind of were. So question 1, how should we deal with AFK training magic through splashing? So there was a time where, if you know what splashing is, you'll see people doing it all the time in Lumbridge and places like that. They're wearing full iron armor with a staff, and they're shooting like airstrike or fire strike on a rat, but it's not actually doing any damage. It just splashes because they're wearing the full iron armor. And this causes you to gain like,
with van braces.
Yeah, van braces as well. It causes you to gain like 10 experience per shot, so it's not much, but it's AFK, and you can kind of have that going on the side without having to ever pay attention. You just got to click on it.
Yeah. As of right now, you get like 10 to 15 minutes of AFKing. At one point, it was 6 hours.
Yeah, so
at my lowest point, I used to set it up when I went to bed, wake up like 5.5 hours into my sleep, reset my splashing, go back to bed, wake up for school, reset my splashing, go to school, come back during lunch, reset my splashing. Like, I used to have my guy splashing like all the fucking time.
Yeah, and what you would do is you go to Clan Wars, and you would find somebody else who wants to splash, and then you would splash on each other. You would both go to bed, and you'd wake up, and you would have gained like 50k experience that night.
Yeah.
So,
or you go take a shit, come back to go to bed, and see the dude fucking just left. He got bored, and you watch him walk away.
People dislike that part that you could do that in the game so much that they would pretend to be a splasher just to leave so that they could fuck your experience up that night.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that's what this question is referring to when it says, how should we deal with AFK training magic through splashing? It's basically saying, how should we deal with you being able to train your magic for 6 hours without even playing? All right. So these are the 3 questions. Number 1, I don't believe this needs to be dealt with. Number 2, I believe this should be fixed after the community has agreed on a solution via a poll. And question 3, I believe this should be fixed without a poll. So the part of that question that got 53% was, I don't believe this needs to be dealt with. So more than half the people who voted on there says that they do not think that this should be changed or fixed. And then after that, you had 30% saying this should be fixed without a poll, and then 15% saying it should be fixed, but the community should agree on the solution. So the community at one point voted to not take away AFK training.
Yep.
Okay, and the question 2, how should we deal with AFK training using full Guthans and Nightmare Zone? Again, similar idea as the splashing, but you would use full Guthans in Nightmare Zone and you'd go to bed and you just wouldn't die because you could out-heal it, right?
Yep.
And it was actually a lot better experience. And, yeah, and the results, basically the exact same. 55% of people voted to not, I don't believe this needs to be dealt with. Then 28% with it should be fixed without a poll. Then 15% it should be fixed after the community agrees on a poll.
Yep.
I mean, that's where NMZ Prod started from. You just max account with nothing, no bank value. They have a set of Guthans, and that's about it.
Yeah, and they'd have like level 1 Slayer, and they'd have like a total level of like 1,000.
Yeah, like when the game first came out, played it, nostalgia wore off. I was like, you know what, and I stopped. And then I came back a little bit before the peak of the splashing incident. Mm-hmm. I remember coming, like, during one of my hiatuses, I came back and everyone was like, you look at the subreddit and it's like, just got my 99 magic cape, and it's a picture of Magikarp on a skill cape, because splash, ha 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 ha, very funny.
Yeah.
And like, that's the type of shit you would see, like, those are the shit posts you'd see. And, it kind of got the Zalwar treatment. It went on for too long, people memed on it super hard for a week, and then boom, one day it was gone, and people were like kind of upset. Not kind of, people were really fucking pissed. And,
but probably a lot of people who are like, oh, I could have had 99 magic.
I was one of those people thinking I could have had 99 magic. Fuck. Because
if I took the splashing more seriously.
Because, so, it started off with, like, the whole thing started with, the guy who does OS Buddy. I forget what his name is. Mm-hmm. Let's call him Jod Med from now on. So Jod Med used to make a botting client, and then Jagex like bought the client or some shit, and they hired him onto his team for anti-botting. He was so successful that they were able to, that's why you can dismiss random events, because he pretty much proved that random events are just kind of a trap for people AFKing and not bots, and bots can do them flawlessly. And so they allowed you to, like, they took out all aggressive random events and forced random events, and then that allowed you to AFK for 6 hours. Normally you couldn't, because a drunken dwarf would start throwing rocks at you or some shit, and you die.
Yeah, that's right.
So you could, like, splash on rats or some shit, and then they, like, changed it so you could go to clan wars, but then you could also go to PvP worlds and splash on chickens and stuff like that. There was, I remember watching a video actually of a guy who would go to PvP worlds, and the way to stop splashing was to use a bond on someone. And then they would stop attacking, you'd kill their chicken, and you'd kill them. I lost like 500k due to someone doing this to me back in the day, and I was really upset. I woke up like, oh, okay, gonna go reset my splashing, go back to bed, and I'm fucking in Lumbee with my smoke battle staff, and my whole cash stack of my runes gone, because I just didn't know this thing, and I was like, alright, I'm gonna go cut use for a fucking week now and make my money back. I was a super low level at this point.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I have like 5 friends that I started off playing Old School together with, and I came back and like 3 of them still played, and they were like maxed accounts, and I'm like, yo, dude, you guys have fucking sick accounts, man. I'm so jealous. And they're like, yeah, man, just unlock Nightmare Zone, go pay for a host, and go Guthans for 6 hours when you go to bed. And then you go look at their stats and they have nothing, and then like, they see me woodcutting for 2 weeks and like, yo, can you lend me like $1 million? And you're like, dude, I got 2 fucking mil, I'm level 60, I can't give you $1 million. You're maxed out.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so I need supplies to get my quest points so I can get my barrel gloves, and I still need to get my fire cape. It's like, what? You have max melee stats, HP, and magic. It's like, yeah, man, where do you think all my money went? Repairing Guthans and buying fire strikes, dude. Hook me up. Like, it was actually like a lot more rampant. Like, most max accounts you'd see, like, a lot of them came from fucking those times.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
It was a lot of people who were new to the, like, might not have played during that time. It's probably shocking to actually even hear that. That was a thing. That was a thing for over a year. For a long time that was in the game.
At this point, there was like 20k concurrent players, and most of them were splashing or AFK NMZing. Like, the game was so empty. It fucking sucked.
Mhm.
And then they started like doing shit. They came out with the skill caves. They came out with all that stuff. They pulled Zulrah and blah, 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 blah. Started like kind of nerfing bots and buffing PBM and Slayer, and then the game slowly came back.
Yeah, it was, again, the dark times. So if you want, we can continue through the poll, because there are some other interesting things in here.
Oh yeah? Alright.
There's 3 more questions. One more is about commission staking. Commission staking involves one player trust trading their coins to another in order for them to stake it. The person taking part in the duel receives a percentage of the winnings, and the player that trusted them with the coins receives the remainder of the winnings.
Yep.
How should we deal with their staking? So again, this was big on Twitch, where people would just stream like maxed accounts.
Streams were built off of commission staking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Here, you go over the poll votes, and then I'll talk about it.
Okay,
'Cause I was involved with it quite a bit, to be honest.
Again, there's a trend with these votes. So I'll just go, it's the same question for all of them. So 44% voted, I do not believe this needs to be dealt with. 30% deals with it should be done with without a poll. And then 23 voted it should be fixed, but the community should agree on a solution. So again, most people wanted it not to be touched.
Okay, yeah. So around this time, okay, dude, straight up, I made like 50 mil from 0% commission stakes. My boy Son in Old School, Forsaken, banned from Twitch, now he's on YouTube, who actually, dude, his Iron, he grinds the fuck out of his Iron Man account. He's like, pretty much, he's almost max. He's got a beast account. But he would get drunk and do 0% commission stakes. And funny enough, a lot of people hate him, but he's like the only person I know that consistently would do them and not scam. Everyone I know that was like, okay, back in those days, you'd be like, there's 5,000 people streaming on RuneScape, Twitch, and you'd look and like 2,000 on this 0% commission, 500 on this one on this one. Emily's Pro's view botting somewhere within that, but like everyone is 0% commission staking, and they'd be at the top. And like, there was so much shit on like, you go on the subreddit, this guy pretends to get hacked. Look, he accidentally opens up a private chat on TeamSpeak with someone, giving him his info. just to hack his account. Like, people would do it. They'd wait until like people trust them with like 800 mil, and then boom, oh, account got hacked. Or they would just end stream and that's it, and they'd walk away. And then people like would bitch to Jagex, like, I got scammed, 0% commission staking. And I mean, thankfully I didn't get scammed. I made like a lot of money off of it for like, I was like level 80 or some shit with like 50 mil. Man, those were the good times. I made that money last, dude. I made that money last up until like halfway through last year. Yeah, that shit got me through the shitty times. But
so I think even zero commission staking was like a result from commission staking being such an issue, because people would basically, you give them 10 mil and they would keep 500k of it.
Well, it starts off with like 33% commission staking. You know, it's like you're a low account that like you want to stake, but you can't. Give me your money, I'll stake it for you, but I'm going to keep some of it if you win. And then people like that guy's streaming and someone's watching. He's like, dude, I got a maxed account. This guy just made like 100 mil today just staking for people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, I'll do 25%. I'll do 20. I'll do 15. I'll do 10. I'll do 5. Some guy's like, fuck it, I'll do 0 because I just want the viewers. And then everyone's like, I want viewers too. Sure. And then like, you could, like, in those times you could pull like 2K being some fucking nobody. Like, you could make your Twitch account that day, do 0% commission staking, and then if you do like a 30-hour session where like I saw dudes doing like 50-hour, like no sleep, just 0% commission, and they'd be like up to like 2K by the end of their stream, because like, man, this guy had 500 mil, he didn't scam, just trust him with 1 mil of yours. Hey, look, there's only like 800 people in the stream as of right now. 10 of us are putting money in, just put money in with us, and then, you know, more people come, because like, they get, you know, more people putting in more money and more people come and view, and then it's kind of like a snowball effect, and these guys would dominate the front page and then walk out with like 800 mil easy peasy, because now they can scam everyone. They just log out.
Yep.
Sorry to keep going on. That one I can actually see why people were like wanting to keep it in, because one, probably some vote manipulation, because it's easy scamming and easy money. And there was also commission staking bots as well. There are bots that would stake for you. Yeah, good times. And plus people wanted to make easy money while being, you know, you're like level 50 with 200k, go give a bot 200k and hope to God he comes back with like 360k. You know what I mean? Yeah, sorry. Exactly. I'll stop rambling. Is there any other polls?
Yeah, 2 more. So, question 4. How should we deal with players exchanging old school wealth for RuneScape 3 wealth and vice versa? So basically swapping. 51% voted, I don't think this needs to be dealt with. 27 said it should be fixed without a poll. And then 20% said it should be fixed once the community agrees on something. Funny enough, I believe that's the one thing that is still okay to do in this game.
Yeah. I don't agree with it. But
it's weird. It's kind of, I get the argument where like, okay, well, my old account, if I can't have the stats, I may as well have the money. Hell, pretty sure I was weird when I first started this game. Like, I wanted to bypass a bunch of my old levels, but I didn't want to be like, I didn't want it to be like a cheesy way of doing it, I guess. So I had a bunch of money on my RS3 account. I would swap it over to level my prayer, but like I would put these stupid rules. I'd be like, okay, so I'm spending 10 mil old school RuneScape on prayer because I want to get rid of it. I don't want to keep it because that's not fair. That's kind of cheap. But instead of being efficient with it and using the gilded altar and getting like level 50 prayer, I'm just gonna bury the bones. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to basically waste this money in order to level it up so I can still gain my levels, but I can feel like I have morals behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did that, and I know tons of people did do it as well. It's a weird one though, because I feel like it kind of falls in the commission staking part where like it's really easy to get scammed.
Yep. It's really easy. I know a lot of people have been scammed. Here's the thing, I've swapped my WoW gold to RuneScape gold when I first started playing.
No way.
I swapped 20 mil total, I guess. I swapped for 20 mil total. I gave like 60k WoW gold for 20 mil RuneScape, which like if anyone played WoW during Warlords of Draenor, like you just had too much money. You would do your garrison missions and have like 2k gold all of a sudden. And you don't have to spend money in that game. So, I mean, I never did any barriers like that. I've never swapped. I don't think you should be able to swap in general. It's ironic because let's just say I allegedly did it. But, I won't fully admit to it. I'll just say I allegedly did it. It's not really a big deal though. It's just sketchy because you can easily get scammed and like,
that's the thing that I find it's weird because we have bonds and stuff now. So you're basically able to swap real life money for gold.
yeah,
Like legally.
yeah.
Within the game, so but yeah, the problem is it's really easy to get scammed. When I swapped, it was through a player, I believe his name was Japan, and he was a player moderator of all people.
Really?
Yeah, so it seems sketchy, and I did like my research on Reddit and Twitter and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, this guy seems legit, and he did legitimately swap my money. But funny enough, I think he is currently banned.
For scamming?
I don't know. He's not on the high scores or anything anymore, right?
Mm.
So that's the thing. Like, you have someone who's swapping enough money.
Honestly, probably
You know
a
what I mean?
real world trade ban. Because when you're swapping old school to RS3, you're making profit no matter which way the money goes. So we probably just...
You keep some of it,
Yeah.
right? There's like a commission to it.
Yeah.
So it is pretty sketchy, but it's I believe it's the one thing that's still allowed in this game because I remember they've talked about it and they were kind of like, it's kind of low on our list of problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. My issue, actually, is the dead man mode swapping. I think that should not be allowed, but what are you going to do? You're going to watch...
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh, whoops, that was weird. Sorry, go on.
No, that's a tough one because... it's a controversial
Giving
one.
a competitive edge in a competitive game mode. Pay to win. RuneScape Deadman mode's pay to win.
Pay to win.
Go buy some bonds. Go real world
Fair.
trade. Go swap
fair
into
enough.
Deadman mode.
We'll move on to the last question. How should we deal with untradeable combat items being retrieved for free when lost in the PvP areas? So, 55% of players voted this. I don't think this needs to be fixed. Then 18% said, I believe it should be fixed without a poll. And then 26% believe that it should be fixed, but a community should agree on a solution. So a little bit different there. But again, every question in this, the most votes went towards don't change it.
Yep.
And that's kind of weird because, again, what it's talking about was there was a time where in the wilderness, you could PK with Berserker Torso and Fire Cape and the Barrow's Gloves and a bunch of those items that are untradables, and when you died they would just drop on the ground and you would run back and go pick them up, and that was it. You'd never lost
you'd
them.
fight someone in full void who out DPS'd you, had a higher max hit than you, had better KO combo potential, and risked literally 10 times less than you. You would kill them, and you'd get a granite maul and a glory. Like, you would rather go kill level 50 one defense peers, because at least you get their arrows.
And that's if they're skulled, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, that's been fixed. Now there's the gold that's been dropped. So it's funny how a lot of these did get fixed, even though the community voted on it. But the main reason I wanted to bring this up was, like, it was a different time, sure, but you can kind of see what happens when you start asking, like, should we nerf these parts of the game?
Yeah.
Where, like, we did see the Neve's Cave get nerfed and stuff like that. So the mindset has kind of changed, but it's a little dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, we won't sit too much on it. I just want to talk about that. It's kind of an interesting topic because we talked about it last week, but Jagex handles their nerfs a lot differently than most games. And I know they update the game a lot differently than most MMOs, where it's weekly. Most MMOs do it every couple months, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And but the thing is, every time they have these, it's a giant update that comes with a bunch of nerfs and a bunch of buffs to different parts of the game. And sometimes you see that currently, like, reoccur over and over again.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to balance something. Yeah. But I think it's fair enough to move on. Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. So, again, not much kind of went on with the community, so there's that right there. And we're going to move on to our lore. Sorry, last week we didn't bring it up. We just got kind of rambling and stuff like that. And yeah, I noticed I had to gather all my lore shit together. And I was like, you know what? We'll just put it back again, back a week because shit happens. I was a little unprepared. I got a little carried away, I should say. But yeah, let's move on to that. So this week, and I think for the next couple weeks coming up, we're going to tackle on some of the races within Old School RuneScape, or some of the races that live on Gielinor, and maybe some races that have lived at different times during the timeline. So yeah, there are a ton of races within RuneScape, and you bump into them all the time. But the one we're going to talk about today is probably the most popular race on Old School RuneScape. And we all play as one of them. That race being the human race. So they're the most dominant race of Gielinor. They can be found in almost every settlement throughout RuneScape and are responsible of creating many of the kingdoms within it. Humans are known to worship a large variety of different gods, and the followers of the gods usually fall to majority of them being humans. Humans have somewhat of a mid-level intelligence. It is lower than races like gnomes and elves, but it is higher than goblins, ogres, and trolls and other races like that. Some of the more brutal races. So the human race basically arrived on Gielinor at the beginning of the Second Age. And as we talked about before, the Second Age is also when most of the gods had kind of arrived on Gielinor itself. It was also the Golden Age of Zeros. When the humans arrived, all humans were considered part of the Fremenniks. And if you've probably done some of the quests, or at least seen them up in Relica. But the Fremenniks are a group of Norsemen who live in the Fremennik province, which is in the northern parts of RuneScape. Originally, the Fremennik tribes did not believe in creating your own runes, but only using the rune stones that were given by the gods. Eventually, this caused conflict within them, causing them to branch off into separate different tribes. These different tribes were the regular Fremenniks, and the other one being the Moon Clan, which is found on Lunar Isle. And if you have done the Lunar Isle quests, you would notice that the Moon Clan typically uses magic for a lot of different things, and they believe in it being a heavy part of their lifestyle. So as I mentioned before, the human race followed many different gods, and a lot of them were divided amongst the gods. So once the God Wars happened, humans played a huge role within them, fighting for their specific gods that they had worshipped. And during the God Wars, humanity itself nearly became extinct, as well as many other races. This event fell in the Third Age, but once that was over and the Fourth Age began, it was known as the Age of Mortals. And throughout the Fourth Age, the human race began to flourish. It started as just a few settlements being populated, one of them being Ceranthium, which is the city located at the dig site. It's now long gone, but that was part of that settlement. And there's also settlements within the Caridian Desert and Bergderot, or also known as Mire Ditch, which at the time was known for being the city with the largest human population. By the end of the Fourth Age, the human race had become the dominant race within Gielinor. And I should also mention by the end of the Fourth Age is when many of the cities that we know on RuneScape today started becoming popular cities, becoming more than just settlements and actual cities. Eventually, the human race was able to discover the rune-essent rocks, and they learned how to create their own magic themselves. And at this point, this is the start of the Fifth Age. So the Fifth Age is known as the Age of Humans, and which is when the human race is basically able to take over the entire world of Gielinor, which is why you see them and you play as them in every single city, basically. And every major city is populated all by humans. So the human lands and territories on Gielinor include the Kingdom of Misthalin, the Kingdom of Asgarnia, the Kingdom of Kandaren, the Caradian Desert, the Fremenic Province, the City of Great Kurend, the Islands of Miscellanea and Exeteria, the Islands of Karamja, the Island of Etrana, the Islands of Mostly Harmless, and the Island of Harmony. And I think that's where we're going to leave it. I don't really want to go into all the notable characters at the moment. I feel like that is better left for another week when we can actually give a better bibliography of that person. But yeah, there's your Old School RuneScape lore of the week, and we will tackle some of the other races throughout the next upcoming weeks, and then from there we will move on to the ages, and we'll talk about the actual history of Old School RuneScape. I felt like it was better to talk about the races first, so that when we talk about the ages and the different races that might align with different gods or different factions and what they did during the historical events, it'll make more sense instead of explaining the historical events and then having to explain the people that partook in it afterwards. But all in due time, we'll get there. The way I would like this to kind of pan out is to kind of, with each episode, they kind of expand on each other and they kind of build into it. So if you listen to the first part of the lore, and as you go through it, each of the new episodes make more sense because of the past things you might have learned. Again, a lot of it's kind of hard to go by because I have to do a lot of digging throughout the wiki, sometimes the Reddit, sometimes just reading some through of the quests, and even the forums sometimes, because the Old School RuneScape lore is kind of point form currently. I know RuneScape 3 is pretty detailed, but a lot of it is it's just not relevant with Old School RuneScape. So I should have mentioned, but we are still currently in the 5th age in Old School RuneScape, whereas RuneScape 3 is in the 6th age. So yeah, a lot of it doesn't really have place in Old School RuneScape. Some of it does, but a lot of it just isn't there yet because they're in the future basically, and a lot of it, I want to say deviates, but there's a lot of things that Old School RuneScape doesn't touch upon because they don't want to cause issues within the story of the lore itself. Deagin, you still kicking it with us?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I guess this is the final part of this week's episode.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say. I think that's pretty much it for now.
Yeah, that's it for lore. Now we're gonna be talking about just someone on Discord's had a question that they wanted to ask and get our kind of our opinions on it, which I thought was kind of an interesting topic. It gave us a chance to kind of compare Old School RuneScape with some of the other MMOs. You know, you're always playing different games, and I know I've played a handful of other MMOs, and again, we've talked about it in previous episodes. If you've maybe started from episode 1, you probably might have heard similar things, but I've always considered RuneScape, well, mainly Old School RuneScape, a completely different, like, unique game compared to all the other MMORPG games that are out there, or at least that I've played.
I'd say it's definitely the most unique. Yeah. I don't really know. Like, I've played a shit ton of them. Not any of them really have, like, that pull factor like RuneScape does, or, like, the accomplishing. Like, the sense of accomplishment, I should say.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, as RuneScape, which is kind of scary because, like, you could really do nothing for, like, you could waste your whole weekend, but not regret it because you got something that you're grinding for on RuneScape, which, I mean, it's great because it's a game, but it can really impede on your real life.
No, yeah, I get what you mean. The grind is pretty intense, especially if you want to just get there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But anyways, the question was asked by Bully on Discord, and he says, what are your guys' thoughts on if there was other races in the game that we can play as? For example, gnomes or dwarves, because a lot of other MMOs allow you to play different races.
I think it'd be cool in some areas to be like another race, like a goblin, so you can wear that hot goblin mail like we all dreamed of when we first played this game. I mean, yeah. I tried wearing it. I thought I had to do goblin diplomacy to wear it. I was pissed when I found out I was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think like I think walking around normally it doesn't really fit in the game, especially with like if we're going lore wise, the whole ham and stuff. There's literally like a radical group that like hates monsters.
Yeah.
And so it would be kind of weird to like walk around as like a Dorgushan goblin and like, you know, hey, what up? But that being said, it would be really cool if they expanded the elf area. I can't think of the name right now for some reason.
Oh, I think Prifadinas or something like that. That's the city or some shit.
Yeah, I don't even if I knew what it was, I would just say I don't know what it is because I'm not even gonna try to pronounce half the names in these games that make me look retarded. You guys probably think I'm illiterate and I'm like going off a speak and spell or something. But like, it like something like it would be cool if like during a quest or like certain areas you would like quote unquote be in disguise, but really like, you know, you'd have like the body of like an elf. Armor would like, you know, wouldn't fit, or I don't know, something to do with like a quest line where you would like look like another race. That stuff would be pretty cool. I don't really think it'd be good to be walking around as another race though.
Yeah, I don't think for that example, like being able to, you know, you make a character and you can choose your different races. That's what got me thinking about the other MMO games, because I don't feel like it fits in RuneScape, but in tons of other MMORPGs, you know, they have tons of different races that you can play. Yeah, a lot of them just kind of have that, but I think it's kind of interesting that RuneScape, you only play as a human. And I think it's part of it, what kind of makes Old School RuneScape kind of unique compared to the other games.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's part of it, right? You're just, other games, you're kind of like, I don't know, I get like, you feel like more of an epic character, I guess. But in like Old School RuneScape, where no matter how strong you are, you just feel like another person in this world, like another adventurer. You're not like the hero of Gielinor.
Yeah,
some of the quests kind of play out that way, but
I do think that is kind of the appeal, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't really want to play like that's like my biggest gripe with WoW. Sorry, I'm fidgeting with shit. My biggest gripe with like WoW and shit is that you start off as like a normal adventurer and then you end up with like Thrall bowing down to you.
Yeah,
like exactly. It's nice to just be a piece of the puzzle and like, you know, I guess a piece of a giant puzzle. Like it's just nice to like, yeah, you're not some like, oh, let him in Alcarat, he's the greatest, even though you go in for free. But that's kind of like, hey, you did something cool. But it's not like the guards are like, oh, here's some food and oh, you're the best. It's not like you walk into like Varrock and King Roland is like, yay, go bang my wife. You're so cool, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But like you see little like parts of that when you walk into the Legends Guild and they announce you coming into the Legends Guild. But the thing that's kind of cool about that, it's like you're not the only person in that Legends Guild. There's a ton of other people that are in that guild. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And same with the new Myths Guild. When you go into it, there's a ton of NPCs that they have that are just sitting around, and you can talk to them, and they tell you, like, oh, I was able to kill this thing when it was attacking this, or I did this at one point and did this. And, like, these other, like, epic characters where you're just another one of them, where you're not, like some of the NPCs just have better, they've just done more stronger encounters, I guess, than you have. I don't know how to explain it, but it really feels like you're just another person in this game.
Yeah.
Where, like, you have the best armor in the game, but, like, you're just another citizen walking through Varrock. That's what it feels like a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, RuneScape's always been kind of cool like that, where, like, you don't just go to a city and then you don't really need to ever go back there.
Yeah.
Tons of cities, you're constantly walking through it again for whatever reason, and yeah, whether it's just to do some tasks or it's the closest bank, you know what I mean? There's always reasons to go back to Lumbridge. There's always reasons to go back to Falador and Varrock and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
I don't know, it's kind of cool when you think about the other MMORPG games out there, and a lot of them kind of follow the same formula. I know there are some outliers, stuff like that, but I was trying to find, like, when I wanted to talk about this episode, I wanted to kind of come up with some numbers about like where the rankings of old school RuneScape compared to other MMORPGs out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of learned something as well, that almost, if not every MMORPG out there besides old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, they go through great lengths to avoid telling you how many players they have playing their game.
Yeah, they keep that stuff oddly like secretive.
Yeah, and like I was just trying to find out, like, okay, what's the population count of, name your MMO out there, and you can't really find it. Even with World of Warcraft, you go to a server and it'll just tell you low, medium, or high player count, which you don't really know what that means, right?
It could mean, yeah, it varies like quite heavily.
And yeah, because I wanted to see how popular it was, because really hard to tell, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Like, old school RuneScape is definitely in the top, I want to say in the top 3 most popular MMORPGs currently going right now. I try to find numbers, and the most numbers you will find is how many accounts are like made for in World of Warcraft.
The different thing is though is that RuneScape has a free to play, and then WoW has you have to pay. So if you find out they're making like 15 million a month, a random number, and they're not coming out because Blizzard is pretty fucking shitty when it comes to updates and balancing. And so people go like, "Oh, where's Blizzard makes this much money?" But they have like in China, WoW is fucking massive. But in North America and like Europe, it's still really, really popular, and like there's definitely more than 2,000 people on each server, like at any given moment. Like, I don't know, I do, but I think like other than the WoW, there isn't too many. Like, I would say like RuneScape is definitely top 5. Like, when I played EVE Online, people would get excited when there was like 20,000 players on. You know what I mean? RuneScape's like triple that and some change. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was looking at EVE, and like the numbers I was finding was like things like 20,000 to 30,000, which I'm like, that's so I don't even know what would be considered the second most popular MMO right now. I have no idea. And that's why I was like thinking, like, is old school RuneScape? Because like, could that be number 2? What else competes? Final Fantasy? That one's a popular one.
Yeah, I'd say XIV is definitely more popular than RuneScape.
But the only problem is, like, I see a lot of RuneScape references and non-RuneScape related conversations within like Reddit and stuff. And I know Reddit's not the greatest place to go to like get your sample of this type of stuff. But I don't know. Like, I was looking at, the top MMOs of 2017. And RuneScape was always in the top 5. But the thing was, every single one of those top 10 lists were super biased on that person, on what they thought. So sometimes it'd be like number 3. Sometimes old school RuneScape wasn't even on the list, but most of the times it was. And it just seemed like they're usually super biased because those numbers just aren't available.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, RuneScape is getting bigger and bigger, like, as the months go on, which is kind of cool because MMOs are dying. But, yeah, I think it just has what a lot of people want. Something that you can grind and achieve, but you can also, AFK.
And it's just like, it's a game where you could be a low level and you can still, I don't know, you're still like a part of the community, right? Like, I don't get that sense with WoW, where if you're like level 20, you don't really exist. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not level 20 for long. You level so goddamn fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, it got me thinking and trying to do some digging, and then I realized how hard it is to actually get information on other MMOs. Like, I learned that Lord of the Rings Online is still a game that's going.
Huh, that's kind of surprising.
I have no idea. I have no idea how many people are in that game, but I thought it was just kind of dead. I thought they closed the servers and stuff because the game's kind of old, and I can't imagine. I never hear anything about that. So where are they pulling players from?
I think they're free to play and they have a pay to win model. I think. I don't know though. I know they did some big change to it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It just got me thinking and trying to go down a rabbit hole, but that thing got capped quick. Yeah, there's not too much more to talk about. It's just I do keep my eye out for all the new MMOs coming out because I'm kind of a fan of the MMO genre, and it seems like it's somewhat dying, even though we seeing old school RuneScape grow. It just seemed like a bigger genre back in the day, but yeah, there's not much more to talk about, I guess, about that subject. And that means it's time for me to tell you how you can get in contact with us and the show. So if you want to join, we have a clan chat available in game, and if you want to come hang out while you play old school RuneScape, you can find us on the clan chat WildCC. We also have a Discord. I think there was a time where they weren't pinned on Facebook or Twitter, but I think they have since then been pinned. I'm gonna have to double check. But yeah, we have a Discord link, so if it's not out there, just ask us, and we will definitely get a link out there for you to join. Come hang out with us on there. Whenever we're having events and things like that, we're always posting in we're always posting in the different channels. We have a little channel for the events and stuff like that, and if there's any other videos that we talk about on the Wilderness Podcast, we throw that into that channel as well. You can also find us on Twitter at the Wilderness RS. Our Facebook is facebook.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. I got all three of those, so I think that's basically it for where you can get in contact with us. Deagin, do you want to plug your shit?
Twitter is at DeaginRS.
Nice.
I'm in the process of upgrading my internet, and I'll might be streaming on Twitch at some point. That's also at DeaginRS.
Shit.
I don't know how much RS will be playing
Nice.
on Twitch, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll let you guys know once that's all going through. But if you want to check those out, they're both not too active right now, but in the future they will be.
If you want to catch the first stream going live, you can go ahead and follow. I also have a Twitch page set up for the Wilderness Podcast. Like, I'm not sure what we're going to do with it, but eventually in the future, if we ever start recording on there as well or doing the show live, you'll be able to catch it on there. And I'm pretty sure it's just the Wilderness Podcast. But again, nothing's gone on in there. We just, saved it for future use. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested. And shit, I think that's it. I'm getting a little tired, a little loopy.
Yeah.
It's getting a little late.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
So, let's get out of here. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening, and tune in next week for episode 70.
Damn. All right, yeah, guys, have a good one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, you guys are the greatest. Talk to you later, and have a good night.